Last week, something disturbing happened in Tualatin at Hazelbrook Middle School. One student attacked another student, and other kids recorded it on their phones. The attack and the fallout are disturbing on many levels, and that makes it our big story tonight. First, let's deal with the fallout. Thursday, September 28th, someone took to Snapchat and threatened a shooting at the school. Police investigated and deemed it not credible, but a juvenile has since been arrested. The next morning, Friday, September 29th, an unrelated email came into the school threatening a bombing at the school and at staff members' homes and a shooting at the school. The FBI now reports that threat came from outside the country. But the school was evacuated Friday, closed for the rest of the day, and closed Monday as well. So what happened? Let's get to the big picture. We're able to shed a little bit more light on the entire situation, including how social media really helped fan the flames here. Again, it started when one student attacked another student in the hallway at Hazelbrook Middle School in Tualatin. We're not going to show you any part of that video, but we can describe it to you. One student walks up behind another, pulls her down by the backpack, hits her several times in the head and shoulder area before walking away. Video of the attack was posted on social media, where it spread quickly. By Thursday of last week, the comments started to get hateful. People started to claim the attacking student was transgender and that other young girls at the school were in danger. People started calling and emailing the school to complain, and some of them started making threats. Here's the superintendent of Tigard Tualatin District speaking last week.
In this particular situation, we know that it was premeditated, that it was planned because there is a challenge that is nationwide relative to whether it's TikTok or other social media platforms. You know, go ahead and videotape a threat or a fight so that you can get lots of likes, and that's exactly what they did. Students knew that this was going to go down for that reason and did not report it. When our students do report it, we always react immediately to it. And so that's what's most important to understand. The minute that video, however, went viral, then there were issues that were raised by the larger community, not internal to the district, but external to the district. Adults within the community and adults, nationwide, calling out the student's gender. And that had nothing to do with the choice that student made relative to the assault. That student made an incredibly awful choice and will have consequences that are meted out commensurate with that assault. However, this other piece, which is because the student has a particular gender identity, therefore there is no connection, and that is the hate that we are dealing with right now from groups from across the nation and even here locally, and that has no place in our schools.
Ricky Smith says that, unfortunately, threats against her school district are fairly common these days. She also said that the attacking student has been turned over to law enforcement for an assault investigation. But we wanted to hear from some of the adults who decided to use their online platform to spread the video to people all over the country. One of those people is Ben Edel. He's a parent at Hazelbrook Middle School, but he's also the leader of the conservative group Free Oregon. He posted the video on his social media, and he does not have any misgivings about doing that.
They're also videoed every day, everywhere throughout the school. And so, I think it's really disgusting that Sue Reiki Smith, the superintendent of the Tigard Tualatin School District, is trying to turn this around and blame parents. That this is not the parents' fault or responsibility. The parents are outraged. The parents have been outraged, and the parents are still outraged.
Edel says he thinks the threats of violence against the school were hoaxes. He called them a false flag coming from what he calls leftists. He says he's not concerned that the spread of the video led to violent threats.
Well, violence has already been occurring at the school on a regular basis, and no, I'm really not concerned. I think that I suspect that the bomb threat came from somebody who supports Sue Reiki Smith, and that's why nothing's being done about it. I think it's meant to distract and meant to take people's attention away from the facts of the matter. And the facts is that a boy decided he was going to put on girls' clothes, and so he could go into the girls' bathrooms and girls' safe spaces and violate the safety of girls. And this has to stop. This has to end.
Now, to be clear, the school district has not and will not confirm if the attacking student is transgender because they are underage. That is certainly the narrative that surfaced online after the video went viral, despite no evidence that it's true. As this story was unfolding, we got an email from a former teacher at Hazelbrook Middle School. Jules Ackerman left the school at the end of last year, but taught there for 2 years. She was the building equity coordinator, so that's one of the people in charge of making sure the school is safe and equitable for all kids. She says at Hazelbrook, it was not an easy job.
The atmosphere, the climate of Hazelbrook's community is not all on board and doesn't prioritize the safety of those students at all times. And, there were times I can think of at staff meetings where people would push back on the discussion around using proper pronouns that students want, teachers who have walked out of those meetings.
And she tells us fighting between students was common at the school when she was there, and that students are using their phones to document and post them.
There have been many fights at Hazelbrook. I've been there for 2 years and there were fights. And I don't think it's a gender issue. That was my first thought, is why are these headlines talking about their gender? I've seen every gender fight at that school, I think that a big part of it is, the use of cell phones and orchestrated fights.
Ackerman says she wants to see more conversation around responsible social media use for the kids and the adults.
Talk to them about what it means to have agency over what you're seeing and what you're viewing and what you're posting, and being very selective and responsible in what we're viewing and what we're taking in and what we're sharing on the internet. I feel like these are conversations that are missing from schools right now, and at home. Because what we're seeing is it's the adults who are sharing these videos too. It's the parents who are sharing them to these, to Ben Adults Twitter. And it's just disturbing that it's not even the kids right now, it's the adults. And so I think that we as adults have to do better, especially in education, especially as parents, to talk through this with our kids.
The school held a meeting for parents last night to talk about what happened, and more parents are planning to pack the school board meeting on Monday night. We'll be sure to bring you the highlights next week.